You know what happened the other day while I was in lab?
What?
I got freaking made fun of for being a micro major.
What for?
So I was like, I'm taking this class. It's called medical mycology, which basically means like I'm learning about fungus.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's actually,
Fungi.
yeah, well, it's actually really interesting. Like, fungi are actually pretty cool. But, hey, listen, architect major.
I mean, my stuff you live in, and it's like prevalent day to day.
Our stuff basically is life or death, but you know.
My stuff is life or death. Kind of. Actually, it's more of like if I wanted to kill a bunch of people, I could just make a crappy building and let it collapse on people. Is that not appropriate to say?
Probably not. No, but
it's fine.
We were in lab and I was like sitting there getting ready to write down notes for stuff, and like our lab, we've gotten pretty good like friends and stuff already, and so we're like joking around and everything, and my TA, she's like just bacteria is just like really boring. Like it doesn't, you know, me being the only micro major in the room and stuff, I looked at her and I was like, don't you dare say that bacteria is boring.
Bacteria.
Yes, I was like, bacteria is not boring. Don't you dare. And she was like, and I have a friend in that class, and then he caught on to what was happening, and he's like, oh, coming from the micro major.
Who is this guy, a-hole?
His name's Calvin.
Fucking Calvin.
No, but...
Is that one guy that we randomly saw at Olive Garden one time as our waiter? Oh, how did I freaking remember that? I want to go to Olive Garden now. Can we go to Olive Garden?
We can ask Taylor and Gabe.
Let's see if Calvin's there. We can ask him to be our server.
Calvin doesn't work at Olive Garden anymore.
Where
he
does
works
he
at
work
Ranchers.
Now? We're going to go to Ranchers now.
You gonna pay?
Nope.
Then no, we're
not
going to Ranchers.
I can find a pledge to pay for it.
Just like...
I'll be like, yo, Ross, you got $2,100 you got to spend? Hit us up at Ranchers. But you don't sit with us. You sit at a different table.
Haze them. You got to pay for Ranchers.
You got to pay for Ranchers. Bitch.
No.
These hands don't haze. These hands don't haze.
But no, literally, I got fun of for being a micro major, and then they all kept being like, "Oh, the micro major should get bacteria." And
my god!
I was like, "Oh my gosh, guys, bacteria is cool. Do not diss bacteria."
I got freaking plushies over different bacteria. It's like it's cool.
I was like, we are made of a bacteria. You could not live without the bacteria. So don't even say shit about bacteria. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Bingers Anime Edition. As always, I'm your host Mo.
I'm Matty, and we're just a little podcast that talks about different animes with fellow weebs out there.
That was very enthusiastic.
I know. I have been very enthusiastic. Last night I was like a ball of sunshine, wasn't I?
Oh yeah. Freaking watching 6 episodes of Happy Sugar Life.
Oh shoot. Dude, why did we do that?
I don't know.
I was like, I was like joking. I'm like, oh, Gabe's watching.
Everyone got into it.
I was like, why are we into this? This show is disgusting. I literally, after finishing that show, felt like a disgusting human being because of the.
I felt like a disgusting human being going home last night
because of the sheer amount of pedophiles in that show.
They just literally made every character a pedophile.
Yes, like no joke, or like some weird obsession with something. Oh god, is that not love? Stockholm syndrome?
No. I think we've learned that that's not love.
I don't know what is love. Who is
what
the
is
right
love?
to
Baby,
judge?
don't hurt me.
What?
Have you ever heard that song?
No. But like, who has the right to judge what love is?
I think courts do.
Okay, that's fair.
When it comes to pedophiles.
Okay, I was not trying to encourage people to be pedophiles or defending them. I was talking more of
I also think when it comes to like sexual assault or something, the courts have something to say.
Once again, I was not saying that is love. I was saying
I'm just giving you shit.
Now everyone in the podcast, as well as on the TikTok community, thinks I'm a pedophile. Still a little peed about that.
Yeah, I didn't freaking think you're a pedophile. I'm
like, what? No, that's not what I'm saying at all. It's great. Everything's fine. But yes, also we've been watching Bungo Stray Dogs. Dogs.
Bungo Stray Dogs. Yes.
Because we watch on the same Funimation account, and I'm watching it much faster than Mo has been, and she's like, what the hell?
Actually, I switched over to Crunchyroll.
I don't blame you.
Because I'm watching it actually subbed.
Oh, are you really? Is it good?
I like it better subbed.
The only reason why I'm watching it dubbed is because I'm watching it at work, and so I need something in English. That's my problem right now. I need to find dubs that are good and good shows that I can just watch while I'm working. I've been going through so many animes. I watched all of Death Parade. I watched like 2 seasons of Bungo Stray Dogs in a week. So
listen,
I need to find some shows to watch.
You know what I found out last night?
What?
Both Taylor and Gabe are sub gatekeepers.
Are they really?
Yeah. They were giving me so much shit.
Are they really?
Because I turned on an anime and it was in English dub, and they were giving me so much shit about it.
Oh my god. I mean, I understand. The subs tend to be better, and I get that. But also, I'm lazy.
Lazy.
Also, we have a podcast. We got to go through a lot of shit in a very short amount of time. I don't have the luxury to come home and watch stuff in sub. I don't have time for that shit. Also, I can't eat and read at the same time. It's a big problem of mine.
No, I have that problem too. I can't eat. I can't watch stuff like subbed while I'm eating because it's like I have to pay attention to one thing or the other.
Right? Right? It's a problem. That's why Steins Gate had to be dubbed, because I ate canes every single time.
Listen, and I was telling them, I was like, dudes, like, what's the deal? Like, why are you being that way about dubbed? I was like, it's not bad. Because we were watching, like, Rising of the Shield Hero last night. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it was, like, in dub because I've only ever watched it dubbed. And they instantly, like, turned on and they were like, they're like, please turn it on sub. It's so much better.
Oh,
and I was like,
God.
I was like, oh my gosh, it's not that bad. Like, and they're like, yeah, it is. I was like, stop. Like,
you're like,
I was like, do I hear a gatekeeper? Do I hear a gatekeeper?
See, because Luke's also a sub gatekeeper, and he's like, I only watch the best. And anytime I'm like, oh, you know, we should like, I'm like, oh, well, we can watch a dub or sub. He's like, why would we ever watch a dub? And I'm like, you're such an asshole.
It's like, dude, it doesn't matter.
I'm like, you like what you like. It's nothing wrong with wanting to watch something in your native language.
I watch some stuff in sub. I watch some stuff in dub.
I dabble in a little bit of both. Like, the anime we're going to review today, I originally watched subbed, and then I watched again in dub. And they're both good.
Well, it's like shows, I'm watching Bungo in sub, and I'm watching Fruits Basket in dub. You know?
It just is what it is. But yeah, sorry.
We should probably get into reviewing.
Let's move on from the gatekeeper crap. Yeah, do we have anything else we want to talk about that happened this week? I mean, my life was pretty boring this week.
I got into my program.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Yeah, guys,
I got
into the program I wanted, and I got into the place that I wanted to.
Hell yeah. I'm proud of you.
So, it's all going to go great. I'm going to graduate, and then I get to go on, and then hopefully I'll be making like $53,000 a year.
Yes, that's what we like to hear. See, at my career fair, the second week of February, I'm very nervous. And I really, really want to get an internship in Tulsa. Because between the podcast, my friends, finances, it would just be a much better place to work at.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I'm trying not to be picky. But also, I really need an internship in Tulsa. Also, we might want to figure out a housing situation for the summer because I don't really know what's going on.
Well, I'm moving back home.
To Bartlesville? Oh.
And I'm going to be driving back and forth because I cannot afford to live in Tulsa.
It's okay.
But Taylor's going to be gone. Gabe's going to be by himself. You could see if you want to
sleep on his futon?
Yeah. You might check with him.
I'll try that. I also have an uncle that lives in Tulsa, so I could try living with him.
Honestly, I think Gabe would like the company because I think he gets lonely.
I think he does too. I could do that. It's just, it would kind of be weird if I sleep on a futon all summer.
I don't think he'd care.
Okay, I would feel bad.
I don't think he cares.
Okay, I mean, I'll just play it by ear. Who knows? I might not even get an internship in Tulsa. If I get one in OKC, I think I'll try to hit Tristan up because I think he has an extra bedroom. I mean, I'm going to pay, obviously.
Yeah.
But also, what if I get an internship and I don't in Philadelphia? I'm not planning on it. That would be very unfortunate.
You go all the way up to Philadelphia for the summer. Yeah, we'd have to take like a 3-month hiatus on the podcast.
Yeah, or do it virtually, which we could figure out, but I'd be very lonely as well because I would have no friends. But if I stay in Tulsa, we can keep doing D&D.
We can do D&D. We can do the podcast.
It would be great. And I also always have my fallback option in Bartlesville.
It'll be okay.
It'll be fine.
You were always welcome to stay at Nanny's house.
I could.
She would love it.
Yes, I would feel bad.
We have that
though.
spare bedroom.
We would hate each other, though, by the end of summer.
Probably.
I would literally just hide in my room and watch anime all day. And
Dude,
you
that's
would
what I
hide in
do
yours.
anyway. That's what I do
We'd just be
anyway.
in separate rooms, and I'd be like, I can fucking hear Mo in the other room listening to her anime. I would just be like watching something screaming, and we'd be like, ah. Okay, let's just get into the anime.
Yeah, let's get
review.
into.
Mo, would you like to introduce the show this week?
Yes. So this week we are doing Death Parade, and one word that I would say about this anime is it's not what it seems.
Yeah. Death Parade is a great anime. I love this anime. Like, at first when I was rewatching it, I was like, okay, this is not as good as I thought. But by the end of it, I was like, okay, this is like, for thought-provoking animes, this is a very thought-provoking anime.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very intriguing anime. There is a couple flaws we'll talk about, but I liked it in general. Would you like to do the proto info?
Yeah, I'll do proto info. So Death Parade was directed by Yuzuru Tachikawa. Its music's by Yuki Hayashi. It's Studio Madhouse, who has done multiple animes, such as The Irregular Magic High School, Claymore.
We love that incest.
We love that incest. And many, many others. Studio Madhouse is probably one of the top studios in Japan.
100%.
Its original run was from January 9th of 2015 to March 27th of 2015, and it's got 12 episodes.
Yeah, it is.
A very short watch.
It's a very short watch. I would say the genre is more of like a thriller, kind of.
Thriller, mystery type.
Horror, kind of borderline horror. It's not like scary, but there's elements in it. Yeah.
Psychological.
Psychological. It's definitely psychological.
I would say more psychological than horror.
Yeah. That's why I liked it so much, because I like the psychological stuff. But, yeah, I'll do a quick synopsis. It's pretty basic premise to explain. I'll do it in my synopsis voice. After death, there is no heaven or hell, simply a bar. A bar between reincarnation and the void. At this bar, a guest will appear. Okay, now I'm done. Okay. That's as far as I could make it. After death, pretty much 2 guests will arrive at this bar, and the bartender will incentivize. Help me out here, Mo.
I'm trying. I'm trying to think of what you're trying to say.
Like an incentive, but they incentivize them.
I don't think that's.
They incentivize.
There you go.
The guests to perform a game, which pretty much is for their lives, because they arrive to the bar and they're unaware of their memories leading up to their death. And throughout the game, they slowly regain their memories, and it allows the bartender, known as arbiters, to make judgments on the people, determining if they should go to heaven. If they should be reincarnated or go to the void. And in these games, the idea is the arbiter brings out the worst in the people. It brings the darkness within,
their
hearts, allowing them to make a fair judgment of where they should go. Until one day, a black-haired woman, because that's literally her name until like episode 8, appears, and she has her memories of her death, and so she doesn't play the game, and it requires our main bartender, Deckham, unable to judge her. And so she ends up staying for 3 months to assist him in these judgments and give insight and allow him more time to judge her. And through this process, pretty much our characters start to establishing, like, what is an arbiter? Why are they the way they are? Who has the right to judge? Like, what is the purpose of life? Like, what is the impact of life? It really brings out these ideas and these questions, and
like, what's human emotion?
Exactly, and explaining this world, sort of, kind of, but I think that's a general synopsis, would you say?
Yeah, I would say that's pretty much.
But yeah, so story. Um, the story is interesting because it really does a good job of the character focused and very character driven, but it also does a great job of not explaining things.
Yeah.
Like it will casually hint at something and then never touch on it again. So like for example, there's this giant tower where all these bartenders are judging people to determine where they go, but there's no explanation why this tower exists.
Yeah.
Just that
It's
arbiters life because what's the 3 rules of arbiters? Arbiters' only job is to judge because that's the only reason for their existence.
Mm-hmm.
Arbiters cannot die because it brings them too close to death and would taint their judgment. And arbiters cannot have human emotion.
Yeah, because
of some reason that I can't remember. But that's like literally repeated
I'm trying to remember
every episode.
Because I think it would like hinder their judgment.
Yeah, so it'd make them too close to human, and
yeah,
they
that's
couldn't
it.
judge.
It would make them too close to human.
And so, but yeah, like no one explains why they need to judge the humans of determining if they should go to the void or reincarnate, and why they have to bring out the worst in people's soul and not just judge them off their memories, which they kind of explain because it's just like a huge kaleidoscope of memories. But it's an interesting story, but it is very because it originally was just an OVA, right? It started off as an OVA, and then it got a series. And so the first episode was like the OVA, and then it explains more. I don't know. It's just... It's a unique story.
It has a really good way of explaining things, but not explaining things.
Yeah.
You know, like explaining the things that kind of we need to know, but not explaining the things that are like around.
Exactly. I mean, it's definitely the characters that draw you into the show. The way they reveal the characters' past with the the memories coming back slowly throughout the game. These games that are literally
them like realizing that, oh my god, I'm actually fucking dead.
Yeah, or realizing these awful things about yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and just realizing, and then seeing the worst brought out in people, and then seeing the conflict between Deckham and the black-haired woman. Like, black-haired woman's like, why are you doing this to them? Like, you can't. This is not okay. And then literally watching while some of the people, like, lose their crap. Mm-hmm. I would definitely say, though, the most interesting parts of the story is when it has two new guests each time.
Yes.
That's when I was most entertained, is when these new guests were appearing and watching their story. Like, the black-haired woman had an interesting story, and it was nice to have that overarching
like, that was the long
plot.
story throughout the whole thing.
But I personally think Death Parade did best when it had just the two new guests each time, and you find out.
Well, it kept you interested in it and stuff because you wanted to see who came next and like what was their story, why did they die, and like who's the person that has the evil heart, so to say.
Well, and then also like the ending was weird because like I expected like Oculus, there's pretty much like God kind of this world. Like, there was, like, this subplot developing where he was realizing what some of the other arbiters were doing and how they were, like, implanting human emotions into Deckham, and he was, like, not having it. But he never did anything. Like, I really expected at the very end he comes in and fucks shit up, but he didn't. He just...
lets it happen.
Yeah, he just says... And they make a new rule about something, and I was like... What? Like, I expected him to come in and, like, something crazy happen, like some conflict, but it didn't happen, which that was kind of disappointing, in my opinion.
Like, it really wasn't, like, all brought together, you know?
And
like, it was like they were all pissed. He's pissed about it, but it's like, he's like, oh, well, you know?
But also, maybe that is a testament to the world that they were living in, because it is a place between death and life. They can't die. And they just have to find a way to cure the boredom, is what he said at the beginning. So maybe he was like, this is very foolish. But he also might have realized that she's just trying to cure her boredom. And he just let it happen.
Yeah.
It's an interesting... The whole show is very abstract. Very difficult to understand to a certain extent. And none of it's like... It's interesting because you can't really judge it based off our lives. Because it's not in our life. It's a different life. It's not death either. It's this... purgatory place that has never been really touched on. Like, we can't experience that, so maybe that's why it's so weird. And
it's got a lot of like theocracy and stuff involved with it, and like ethical stuff, and
that's why I liked it so much. I think that's what drew me in so much to this anime.
It gets you like really thinking about like that kind of stuff. Like,
100%. But is there anything else about the story you'd like to discuss?
I think we kind of covered it.
Yeah, I think so too. I have final thoughts next, but that's not right. Let's go to characters.
Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Would you like to talk about the first character?
Yeah, let's talk about Deckham.
Yeah.
Deckham. So he is one of our main characters. He is an arbitrator. He is the only arbitrator with human emotions.
Which you can't tell at first.
Yeah.
Because he seems like a dead horse.
Yeah.
No, that's not an expression, is it?
No.
Deadbeat? No. Deadbeat horse? No. Deadpan. Deadpan. That's what I was trying to say.
Deadpan.
Jesus Christ.
No, but
our main character's a dead horse, guys.
No. He's very cold, and at the beginning you kind of can't tell that he really even cares about like what's going on with the humans in these games or whatever, but as the like black-haired woman comes and she starts being like, well, why are you doing this, and starts actually like asking him all this stuff, it's kind of when his human emotions really kick in.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, what is this, like what really is human life.
Yeah, and Deckham is a very like serious, very deadpan character, white hair. He's almost like a spider. Because he has strings. Like, I guess the arbiters all have like special abilities to help protect them from the humans from going crazy. Because pretty much with the humans, the humans don't actually come there. Their souls get put into mannequins, and the mannequins are the ones that are being judged. So when they are, getting violent and bringing out the darkness, like Deckham will use like strings and threads to like control everything around him, which is kind of creepy. But I think that his personality fits it well with the spider idea, I feel like. And it's funny because at the end he tries smiling and he can't smile. It's like really a weird creepy chipmunk thing, yeah. But I like Deckham a lot. He was an interesting character.
It was just interesting to see how he grew from like the very beginning to the very end.
He definitely had character development. So did the black-haired woman. Also, the sub and dub. I watched it originally subbed, I realized. And then I watched it dubbed this time. And in sub, Deckham has extremely deep voice. But in the dub, he doesn't. It's more high-pitched, but he's still monotone and like disconnected, which I thought. It was interesting because there's two different ways of doing the same character. And I was like, this is why I like the difference between dubs and subs. It's fascinating because it's almost two different shows sometimes.
Yeah.
And I like it. Once again, there's nothing wrong with watching it both.
You're going to have this fight with them when you see them.
I'm not going to say anything. They can listen to it on the podcast. Oh, wait. They're never going to listen to this.
Okay.
Sorry, that was a little shady.
But yeah,
that's breezy down here.
That's Deckham. So out of like the arbitrator, he's the only one with human emotions, which I think it is like some sort of like experiment with all the arbitrators to kind of see what really Deckham would do with humans in the games and all that.
Yeah, and then so the next character is the black-haired woman, also known as
Chiyuki.
Chiyuki. I have a weird name written down, but whatever. She's kind of cool. She's also played by Jamie Marsh, which I almost feel like was not a good fit for the character. It was. Yeah. I don't know. It just felt. I felt like the black-haired woman should have been more like monotoned.
Yeah.
But she was a little more eccentric than I thought she should be. But I don't know. But it was interesting. She was an interesting character.
Yeah, so she came to I forgot what the bar's name is called. Quindecum. Yes, Quindecum. So Chiyuki comes to Quindecum. She knows that she's died, but she doesn't know how she's died, and she doesn't know the circumstances of really her life. She has absolutely no memories of her life, like her name or anything. And so basically she's there, number one, to try and kind of get her memories back.
Yeah.
And number two, to really be an assistant for Deckham and judging at the games and stuff. And so as the story goes along, we kind of learn more about like Chiyuki's life and which is really sad.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. And I remember watching this. I also I shared my testimony on Wednesday in my cell group, and I was watching the show that morning. And it got to this part of the story, like at the end, and I was like, "Damn! Like this was sad." Like, because should we talk about her story? So like, she is like she was a figure skater in her past life.
She did not have a good childhood, and so
I thought her childhood was great.
Shut up.
No, like literally, her
Really?
childhood was great until she, got hurt ice skating, and then she could not ice skate anymore, and that's what was rough about
I
it.
thought she didn't have a good childhood, but she like read this like book named like Chavat or something that had like a girl that was like a figure skater, and that's where she like wanted to figure skate.
Okay, we got two different impressions of this girl's life, because
Really?
I got it that her life was really happy and she was smiling a lot, and that she just really loved this story because of the communication and stuff, and she loved her mom and her dad loved her and she had her friends, and there was never once I felt in her flashbacks that it was like bad until she couldn't ice skate anymore, because that's what she loved more than anything. And then because she couldn't ice skate anymore, she ended up killing herself at a very young age.
Yeah.
By young, I mean like our age, I think.
Yeah.
Which I guess I don't feel like that's young. I feel like a lot of people commit suicide at our age, which is
No,
sad.
it's really young.
Is it really?
Yeah, if you think about it, life expectancy is about 80.
Well, I mean, the other day we were like, oh yeah, we're almost 40.
We're halfway to 40.
We're halfway to 40. Oh my god, we're almost to 60. We only have 40 years left till then. And I was like, oh shoot, it's coming soon. So
No, but yeah, Chiyuki just like once her whole figure skating career, it was like she just felt like she didn't really have anything anymore, and so
Yeah.
she started really shutting people out, and like she felt like she really couldn't connect with people anymore.
And she said, what one of the things she said was, she was like, people can't ever really know each other. No one really knows what's going on in another person's head, no matter what. And that what she was saying didn't really make sense to me. I was kind of confused by her perspective of everything. But
I guess it's just like when you take like her personality and stuff, and that she wouldn't really talk to people
yeah,
about what was going on
she
and
didn't
about
have anyone to talk to, and it was a strange way of showing it. Like, it was an interesting perspective because normally when people are like, oh, I have no one to talk to, but I want to. For her, it was almost like she had no one to talk to because no one could ever understand her perspective, and she could never understand anyone else's, and that she wasn't a good person. And it's kind of her perspective of it.
Yeah.
But she was already dead, so it's not like she can redeem herself from it. And it was just really, really strange.
Yeah.
But
at the end, she finally got like all her memories back and stuff, and she was finally able to get
there's a little bit of
reincarnated.
an emotional breakdown there. Like, she saw her mom, and like Deckham set up this like scene thing that wasn't real, and her mom was pretty much like going to her little shrine in the corner and just being like, no, what did I do wrong? I'm a terrible mother. And then black-haired woman's just crying, and then I'm over here like, and
You're
then
like,
Deckham's feeling emotions for the first time, and everyone's like being emotional, and I'm like, and then I'm like,
You're like,
oh, the feels.
the feels.
Because that was what's so interesting about this anime. It really brings out the idea of, what do you leave behind? Like,
Yeah.
what is the legacy you leave, the impact you leave on life? And black-haired woman said at one point, she's like, even if I hit this button and take someone else away from this world and I go back to my mom, that's still another person like my mom that's going to have that impact. And I was like, oh, that hit.
Yeah,
That hit.
that's true. Like, oh, that's so deep.
Oh, yeah, I know. We'll talk about
Getting
it
deep.
later. I have questions to bring up that we can talk about. But
All right.
you want to talk about Nona?
Nona. She's like the head arbitrator, right? She kind of like,
Yeah, she's like the manager.
yeah, she's kind of like the manager of all of them. And like, she's the one that's basically like takes Chiyuki to like Quindecum, and she's like, okay, you're going to just stay here.
Yeah, she's like the head honcho. But it's interesting because even in the first episode, Nona even makes it clear that arbiters make mistakes, and that if you're lucky, they'll admit they made a mistake. And if you're not, like another character will bring up, he just does what he wants, even if it is a mistake. And it's just like, oh, shoot.
So there's like actually really no like checks and balances
Yeah,
when it
it's
comes to
just, like,
arbiters.
It is what it is. And Nona's kind of, I like Nona. I thought she was an interesting character. She's almost like a little girl, kind of, like, is what she looks like. And she's like smaller, but
Like, she knows,
She
you know?
There's this one line she says that like, I'm like, I love it. She's like, fear, my dear. And I'm like, oh, it's just Nona, you know? Like,
Yeah.
she just talks this way, and she's like, you old geezer, like, I'm not gonna waste my time with you. And she just kind of does her own thing.
Yeah.
But she is experimenting. She wants to see if there's a change in how we judge, like how they judge the art, like humans, the arbiters do.
Yeah, because they've been doing it this way for like ever.
And she's like, why can't we do it a different way? Like, well, there has to be something different. There has to be a different way because we make mistakes. There's gotta be something different. So she's trying different ideas, and
Yeah, because the way that they do things about like bringing out like the darkness in people's hearts and stuff, it might be saying something that like, you know, that darkness really wasn't in there, but like
Yeah,
the
but they're
arbiters are really
forcing
bringing
it.
it out. They're
Yeah.
forcing it out.
And that's something that I think Nona says. I don't remember which character says, but they're like, what if you're creating the darkness? And I think Deckham says it to Nona, and Nona's like, who knows? But I'm sending you a special one today, so you better do it. But she 100% believes it. She's like, what if we are bringing the darkness out? There has to be a different way to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't understand why they can't just look at their memories of the past, but whatever.
Yeah, it's like, you know, like a play button and stuff, and they just like scan through it real quick, and they're like, all right, you go.
You go, you don't, you go, you don't. But yeah,
you're a murderer, you go to the void.
You go to the void. But yeah, that's Nona. One of the next characters is Clavis. Yeah, he's the elevator dude.
Yeah,
that's it.
He's just there.
He has like one line that says, "Oh, sorry for keeping you waiting," and then at the end, Deckham's like,
he brings the guys up to like Quindecum and stuff.
And at the end, Deckham's like, "Sorry for keeping you waiting," and Clavis is like, "Oh, you're stealing my line," and he's like, "What?" And Clavis is like, "Never mind." I'm like, "Was that a fourth wall thing there?"
That was a fourth wall.
I was like, "Clavis, you've been here the whole time with us." And the only other thing he did is he got his memories read. I think that's about all that Clavis gave to the plot.
He was just there. Cute old man in the elevator.
Yeah. And then there's Ginty.
He's another arbitrator.
He's kind of a douche.
He has his own bar.
Yeah.
It's like a Japanese style bar.
Yeah, he's a douchebag.
Yeah, so he's kind of the one that's like, well, I made a mistake and I made a mistake, whatever. I'm going to do what I want to do.
They're just humans. They're all shit anyway, so who cares? He's literally a douchebag.
Yeah.
There's no other way to say it. And it's weird because like he was like a side story, but the only purpose for his story was to reaffirm that arbiters make mistake, which was already established in the first episode.
Yeah.
So
and that some they don't care.
Yeah. I felt it was kind of pointless, but it was also really interesting. Like I thought all of his interactions with the two people with him were pretty interesting.
Well, especially with the two people that were kind of with his story.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about those two real quick.
Yeah.
I don't have them written down, but...
It's like Mayu and, like, Harada.
Harada, yeah. And so Harada is, like, a boys band singer. He's, like...
The idol.
He's the idol. And then Mayu is, like...
The idol-obsessed fan.
Yeah. But it was so interesting because...
It's like both of those people didn't deserve to go to the void.
No.
But...
Well, okay, I think Haru deserved to go to the void.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Was a womanizer, and he caused people to commit suicide because he just was like, oh, I broke up with you. I said I was sorry.
Yeah.
But he also showed serious remorse about it. So I was kind of like, okay, maybe. But he got sent to the void because he was about to push Mayu off of the like little challenge they do so he could live. Whereas Mayu was more concerned about peeing her pants in front of Haru and was like, I will kill myself for him. But there was one thing she said that I kind of hit home for me, and I don't know why, but she was like, when I had bad days, when I had tough moments, I listened to his music. I listened to that music, and I chose to live that life. And sure, it might not be a life that any of you guys approve of, but it was the life I chose, and it made me happy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why, but I got like choked up when she was talking about it, because she was just like, I know people judged me. I know people didn't like they thought I was weird, but that made me happy. And I was like...
It makes you really think about like life and about judgment of other people.
Yeah, like what gives us the right to judge others? Like,
exactly.
She was living her best life because she loved her band. Like this guy. She also died in the most stupid way possible.
Freaking slipping on a bar of soap.
And dying by hitting her head on a shower. And I was like, wow, girl.
Though let me tell you, that teddy bear that she's got in her hair, that pisses me off. I don't know why.
I thought it was cute.
I don't know. It pisses me off. I don't know. It like...
Oh, you know what pissed me off?
What?
Is when she took a shower and came back and everyone was like, who is this girl? And they're like, she's so beautiful. And they're like, man, you should stop trying so hard because you look way better this way. And I was like, you guys are both douchebags. Like, what's wrong with you?
I know.
I was like, but she ended up getting sent to the void because she
went back to try to get Haru.
Yeah, and so...
Haruda.
Ginty sent him to the void.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I guess they had their happy ending because their souls, like, combined and like, and I was like, Haru got to be stuck with her, and he clearly did not like her. And I was like, okay, it was just, the whole thing was whack.
I don't know, but she was just like, she's like, I don't even want to like be here if like Haruda's not here
Yeah.
and stuff. And so she's like, and Ginty, he was like, well, you can go to the void and try to get him. But it was basically just a way for him to trick her into going to the void.
Yeah, which, I mean, he could have just shoved her in the elevator and said, you're going to the void.
Yeah.
But, that was a very strange side story that I was kind of pissed off at Ginty, the asshole.
Ginty, the asshole.
But yes, next character, we have Oculus.
Oculus.
Which...
That's the weird girl that's like...
No. Oculus is the dude.
The dude, yeah.
He's like God with the flower beard thing.
With the freaking flower beard.
That he literally like just wraps around people's faces to read their memories. And I was like, that's weird.
It's like a tentacle.
Yeah, and he's like in Hawaiian clothes and just wants to play pool all day.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, what? And he's like, I'm basically God. But he says one line. He's like, God's not been here for a very long time. And I'm like, is this a hint of why this place exists? Can we please get an explanation? But nope.
It's like they just took over because God hasn't been here, and so...
Or like God put them in charge and then God dipped. And
God dipped. He was like, bye.
He's like, moving on to the next world. And I was like, what the freak's going on? Like the whole time I was like, who is Oculus and what is his purpose other than to play pool with people? Also, the entire time I was like, man, this must be a very boring existence.
Yeah.
Like
monotonous. Like, can you imagine?
So, like, I think the arbiter stuff I wouldn't mind as much, but like doing the memory thing and doing the intelligence stuff and then doing like being Oculus, that's so boring.
Mm-hmm.
There's no excitement.
Do you think that I think that he might actually have like more emotion than like the arbitrators and stuff, and that he just like is doing this for his like own amusement?
He might. I have a question I want to bring up about the arbiters and the whole emotion thing later. I'm writing it down. I have like 6 questions now.
Oh God.
But I don't know. Oculus was a strange character, which I really hoped the subplot with him would like lead to shit hitting the fan and a big explanation, but it never happened.
That's anime.
Yeah, right. Another character is Quinn. She was the arbiter before at the Quindecum. Now she's the intelligence chick. She just likes alcohol.
She just likes to go through and like look at shit and like
drinks a lot.
She's kind of crazy.
I kind of relate to her a lot.
I like her in the opening when she's like juggling like all the
yes
booze.
And then there's one other character, Castra, which she kind of just files which souls go to which place, and she keeps saying that. Did you know there's 7,000 people dying a day? And that's 2 people per second. And I was like, holy crap. Like, why are so many people dying on the world?
But then you got to think about it. That as many people are being born, too.
Oh, no. There's this huge theory. Have I told you about this theory?
Oh.
You want to hear about it?
Yes.
Do you know what theory I'm talking about?
No.
Okay, so there's this theory online that Death Note and Death Parade take place in the same universe. Okay. Because Light Yagami makes an appearance twice in this anime.
Okay.
Did you not catch it? So you know when Genti is offering Mayu an opportunity to bring Haru back by exchanging the life of this person, it's Light that's in the elevator.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's definitely Light Yagami. Like 100%, no question about it.
I would have said like, fuck yeah, let's do it.
Dude, right? But and then I wish Mayu was like, well, what did he do? And he's like, does it matter? And I was like, yes, that matters for the fans.
Yes, it matters.
If it's Death Note. But the idea is that maybe the reason why so many people are dying is because L is going on this huge killing spree as Light. And that's why, as Akira. And that's why there's so many people dying so much, because he's just killing everyone. And that's why they're overwhelmed at the tower. But it's implied also that at the end of the anime, when Light is dead, that there's no longer this massive amount of death happening. So it's an interesting theory, which I am inclined to believe because I like fan theories. So
why do they think that Light was in the elevator?
Because it looks like Light.
Oh, okay.
It does really look like him. It has the demeanor. He has his arms crossed, and it looks like him.
Oh, okay.
And it's also argued that Castra is actually a Shimigami, because she has the skull mask and thing. And so
that would make sense.
Yeah, and then you know how Light dies, they say he can't go to heaven, he can't go to hell. Like there's no in between. Maybe he'll probably go to the Shimigami land. What if this place is part of the Shimigami existence? What if Castra is a Shimigami? What if Oculus is actually a Shimigami? And then Light is going. well, they're all arbiters, they're mannequins.
Oh yeah.
But what if Light is going to become a new member of like this place of judgment? Because he spent his whole life judging people.
Whoa.
It's a whole thing.
Whoa.
Dude. It's a whole thing. It would make sense. But also then Light literally got off easy because it could be worse. But he would get bored, which would be his worst punishment, I feel like. I don't know.
That's very true. Can you imagine, like, that would be like his own personal hell. It's just being bored.
Yeah, it would be. And judging humans.
Mm-hmm. Spending
his whole life judging. Yeah. It's interesting thought. That would be the perfect purgatory for him.
Yes, it would.
A world where he cannot be God.
Whoa.
Oh, what if he is the new God of this world? What if Light gets the happy ending that he wanted?
Freaking Mayu, and she just...
Fucking Mayu.
She could have brought him up earlier and...
But yeah.
She said no.
But yeah, so that is all the characters, I think. I don't think there's any others.
Not any worth, like, mentioning.
Yeah, so character development. I would really only say that Decim and the black-haired woman got it. Decim realized...
Well, it was really their story, you know? Like, they were the main characters, and...
Like we said, Decim realized things because the black-haired woman brought out parts of the... pointed out flaws in what they're doing, and whereas the black-haired woman realized her mistakes in her past by the judgment she was helping Decim with. It was interesting how the two helped them grow as people. Yeah, that's all I really got. Do you have any other things on character development?
I mean, I think that's pretty much it.
I mean, once again, it was mostly driven by characters getting their memories back. That's how they developed as people, which I thought was super interesting. I loved seeing that.
Mm-hmm. Like little pockets of it.
Yeah, because the interesting thing about amnesia is even though they lost the memories of how they died, they still have the core of who they are. And so it's interesting to see how they come and then how the events leading to their death sometimes completely corrupted the person. Like specifically the two murderers who came off as, oh, they're pretty decent human beings. And then
you come find out they're freaking murderers.
And they're psychos. But
or even like the husband and wife and stuff like.
Oh, yeah. Do you think she lied or do you think she actually had an affair?
She lied. She totally lied.
Yeah, I 100% believe it. But she got sent to the void because of the lie. And he got sent to reincarnation. Right? And I was like, no. Bullshit. Yeah. Bullshit.
Well, you know, it's just like... And that's also a thing you could, you know, is that you could totally tell that she was, like, lying. But it's like Decim wasn't going to do anything about it.
Yeah.
You know.
Decim couldn't tell. But also Nona made the comment that that the black-haired woman still had a lot to learn. So I think it's also implying that maybe in a memory that they saw that maybe she actually did have an affair and didn't know who the baby's dad was. Mm-hmm. So it brought out the idea of perspective and who has the right to judge.
Yeah.
But so animation.
Animation's beautiful.
Oh yeah, I love
it's so unique.
The muted bright colors.
Yes.
I think would be the best way to describe it because there was like a lot of purple, there was a lot of like blues, but also they still had color, but it was like all yellows. Like saturated. Yeah, I liked it. The character expressions, like their facial expressions, were so good.
Honestly, it was very lifelike.
Oh, yeah. And it's like their faces went to extremes where it almost like it added to that horror grittiness. Like, especially the first couple, like the husband, when he was just losing it. Like,
he's like, fuck this shit.
They would do flashbacks to him. And I was like, that does not look like him at all right now because he's like losing it. He looks like a drooling hot mess. Like, it was bad. And it was so good. And then the eyes, the eyes were beautiful. I love,
yes. Just everything the way that they drew this anime and the way that the animation like played out, it was just like, for a 2015 anime, this was beautiful.
Oh yeah. And then for music, I really liked the original soundtrack. It was like this weird bar vibe type music, and it really was set the tone of the anime. Like, it really set the tone.
Like Monte Carlo, like,
yeah, like it really set, like, as if you were in the bar, that's the music that would going to be playing. And I thought it was very fitting. And then the opening and ending. Oh.
Everybody, put your hands
guys,
up.
this opening is immaculate. It is truly like,
And that's like what a lot of people who have watched this anime, they've watched the opening and then they were like, I did not expect this.
yeah, they're like, whoa, because it's like they're like in a carnival almost. Like it's like really upbeat. They're all like dancing and being happy and drinking together. But in reality, most of these characters never interact with each other, and then they're just all having a good old time. You got Chiyu just ice skating in the back while
Like,
Dekam's
this is one
clapping.
of the ones where the opening does not fit the theme of the
Oh,
show.
100%.
But it makes it so much better.
It makes it so good, though. And the ending, I really like the ending song. Like,
I don't remember the ending song.
because what happened was every time the two characters would finish their little story, they would play clips of flashbacks of their past. And so I would watch it because I thought that was interesting. And then with the murderers, when he's stabbing the little chips, the music, the ending is playing the whole time. It's in English, and it's just really good. And it's like really creepy, kind of like the opening, like the ending is like these mannequins like crumbling, and it's about like what am I leaving behind? Like, who am I? And it was just like, oh, I felt it was very fitting for the anime. Oh, it was good. I'm adding it to my Spotify playlist.
I
good.
love just
yeah, the little finger thing.
Yeah.
Anytime it pops up, everyone I know that's seen the show immediately puts their fingers up. They're like, yep, it's like the fairy tale sign, which it's fine. Maybe that's in the same universe too.
No.
Natsu shows up with Lucy.
The magic of friendship.
The magic of friendship. Wait, isn't it the power of friendship?
Something. I think My Little Pony's the magic of friendship.
Whoa, guys. Write this down. Mo said something wrong while I knew the correct saying. And it was the magic of friendship versus the power of friendship.
You just said it wrong.
This is iconic. This is going on a shirt. The magic of friendship.
The magic
Fairy
of friendship.
Tale. I'm writing this down. Magic of friendship.
But yeah, the power of friendship. But
yeah, so I think that's pretty much everything in the show. We want to do some final thoughts real quick before we get into our questions. There's a lot of questions.
We might just get into our questions and our final thoughts just might come out.
Yeah, okay, so first question.
Okay.
We both go to the bar.
Okay.
Where do we end up?
Oh crap.
Like, I would like to hear like both what you think of each other, like we think of each other and ourselves. Like, would we be reincarnated or go to the void?
I don't know. I feel like I'd be being reincarnated.
I think you would be reincarnated. I personally think I would probably go to the void. So
I'm glad you said that.
Because that's what you were thinking too. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, okay, it depends. Once again, we can't really know for sure because we are not playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
I would either like an incredible amount of darkness would be forced out of me, or I would just have a total emotional breakdown. And they would feel pity for me and reincarnate me. No in between.
He just reincarnated us both. He like, go.
Yeah, it also depends how we die, but like, yeah, I probably would go to the void. Which, considering I'm Christian and I believe in heaven and hell, is not really a great thing right now, because that implies that I also think I'm going to go to hell, but that's okay. We're working on it. Do you really think I'd go to the void?
You think you would go to the void?
I do think, but I was hoping you'd be like, no, Maddie, you would never go to the void. You'd go reincarnate for sure. You're a great human being.
Do you want me to be honest, or do you want me to give you the sugar-coated answer?
It's fine.
Next question.
Okay, so you know how the arbiters didn't have emotions, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they all had very like different personalities, and like they showed anger and they were grouchy and they, you know, how much do you believe our personalities are dictated by our emotions?
Oh, I think 100% our personalities are dictated by our emotions.
Yeah, exactly. Which for me, it's hard to watch, like understand why they even have personalities. Because for me, I would say the arbiters should be totally emotionless, no personality.
Monotonous, just how
they're
like...
robots. That's what they should be.
Yeah.
But they're showing emotion by having different personalities.
Oh, yeah.
But that's just my opinion. Is that like how you view it too?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like when you look at like Ginty and stuff, like you can totally tell like he's angry and like all
there's
that.
emotion
He's like
there.
annoyed and like he's, you know, there is emotion.
So like for me, I feel like the show is fundamentally flawed in that aspect, saying that the arbiters can't have emotion. The only one that I would say didn't have emotion was Deckham. And he's the only one with emotion. So I was like, something's not right here. But also that's because I believe that our personalities are 100% dictated by our emotions.
Mm-hmm. I believe that too.
But also, what is the importance of like legacy? Because that was something that was really brought up in this anime. It was just like,
I think that like everyone wants to leave something behind. Like,
yeah.
I mean, we just as human beings, we just don't want to be forgotten.
Yeah.
And so I feel like everyone tries to leave, a little something behind, whether it's like in your like kids or like in your job or something. Like we want to leave a mark that we were here,
It's true. And I saw a quote somewhere on Instagram and say that one day, the day that the last person thinks about you, the last time anyone will think about you, or the last time someone will ever think about you. And I was like, shoot. I was like, that was, wow. I was like, yeah, like one day, no one's going to think about you again. Because you're dead and there's no legacy left for them to remember you by. And I just was like, shoot. I don't know. It was just weird. But also, does it matter because we're dead?
I just think that, like, as humans, we want to, like, continue on even after.
That's true.
And just, like, having that, like, little piece of, like, legacy that, like, allows people to remember you and keep thinking about you. Because, like...
Well, we want to leave an impact.
What was that? There was, like, one... Have you ever seen, like, Coco?
No, I have not.
Well, so, like, in Coco, how it, like, all works and stuff is that, like, in, like, the land of the dead, when nobody on Earth remembers you anymore, your, like, soul basically dissipates.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like, you are basically gone at that point. So, like, how, like, on Dias Los Muertos and stuff, like, they put up altars and stuff, and they have food and all that. Like, Day of the Dead, and that's, like, in Coco, if, like, somebody doesn't put up your picture, or if people forget about you, then, like, you're gone. And so, like, that, like, just combining those two things and stuff, it, like, really makes me think of, like, people just, like, want to be remembered, Like, even if it's something small, just, like, every once in a while,
Yeah, like, I think it's really important to, like, leave an impact on life. Like, you don't want to go your whole life being, like, a Scrooge and not leaving an impact, a positive impact. So it's interesting. And, like, there was a couple people in this show that committed suicide, and they were both like, I just want to go back and tell them I love them. Like, I want to go back and tell my mom that she did everything she could and this was my fault. And it was just like, it just really brings that thought out, like what is the impact we leave in our life after we die? And I feel like this anime really brings those thoughts out,
Yeah.
Another question that was brought to me. So when the murderers were, doing their little thing, the black-haired woman made a comment. She was like, how do we judge them? They killed someone. And I literally was sitting there. I'm like, well, what does it fucking matter? They killed someone. They're still humans and you still need to judge them. That's your job. Like, that's the arbitrator's job to judge. And then I was like, well, then, like, who determines, like, that murder is a worse crime than lying? Like,
yeah.
Like, our judicial system says that. But our faith, since we're both Christian, and a lot of faiths would say that no sin or any mistake is worse than another.
That it's on par,
I mean, there's some certain religions that, like, that's not true. But it was just interesting because I was like, you're arbiters. Your only job is to judge without emotions or anything. So why would murder be something worse for you? Like, that's not going to be a conflict. That shouldn't be an issue for you to judge them. Like, you should judge them 100% based off if there's darkness or not. But then, what determines what is someone that's worthy of the void and what's worthy of reincarnation? Because Deckham admires people that live a fulfilling life, whereas Ginty is just a grouch and he hates humans, and I'm pretty sure he sends everyone to the void. And, like,
poor people that go to Ginty.
But it was just like, well, what's the point? Like, I mean, like, it just really brought the idea for me personally, like, why is murder worse than these other mistakes? Or
like, how can they accurately judge,
Yeah. Well, like, I think the anime was portraying that murder and being outbursts of anger and jealousy and and then like disloyalty and manipulation are all bad things. But why are they bad? Like, who has established that these are bad things and they're not worthy of reincarnation?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It was just, I don't know. What
Compared
are
to
your
like
thoughts?
murder, you know?
Yeah, like, but also like the girl that got plastic surgery because she didn't like who she was and she
Yeah.
wanted to get the win guy. Isn't that manipulation? Isn't that her way of trying to win her love? And she got reincarnated. But I'm like, what is that any different than the chick that lied about saying that she had an affair to save her save her husband who was like losing it? But even if he wasn't, she had an affair because she wasn't feeling loved. The other chick wasn't feeling love, so she got plastic surgery to look like someone else. Both of those are forms of manipulation and lack of love. Why is one deserving of going to the void and when I don't know. Sorry, just thoughts.
That's an interesting thought to think about.
Yeah,
though.
like I don't know, because like we talked in the Hayoka episode about the power of perspective.
Yeah.
Whereas in this episode, once again, it's all perspective and opinion. Like the author is inclined to believe, the mangaka was inclined to believe that murder is worse than these other things. But I'm sitting over here like, as an arbiter, that shouldn't matter if they killed someone. You should purely look at their life. But then, what the freak is worthy of the void and what's worthy of reincarnation? Is it up to each arbiter?
There's no rules.
Yeah, there's no rules. Is it up to each arbiter? I don't know. What are your thoughts? I'm kind of just rambling.
I mean, yeah, it's exactly what you've been saying. You know, it's how can they judge what's worse, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just, like, it just makes you think that, like, each arbiter has its own set of rules.
Yeah. Well, okay, so this also brings up an interesting, not theory of mine, but, like, my personal view of life.
Mm-hmm.
It brings out the idea of, like, okay, well, how do we determine our moral compass in life? And so I'm like, and in my opinion, I think that's why religion is so important to so many people, is because we need some sort of moral guidance from day to day, which is why I believe that religion was even created in the first place for us, is because humans needed something to help guide us in our morals and ethics.
Mm-hmm.
So some people 100% believe that there's these gods and these like the kami gods, the Shinto belief. There's the Buddhist belief, all these different, and then most, like I would say half of the religious population believes in either a single god, either the Islamic faith or the Christian faith or the Judaism. All kind of have the same idea. Catholicism, which is technically Christianity, for everyone that thinks they're different, they're the same. But like I remember talking to one of my friends, and we were both talking. We're like, even if religion's not real, it gives people a moral compass, which is something I think as humans our mental capacity requires.
Yeah.
Even I would argue atheism, it is a sort of moral compass. With that ideology, all religion or lack thereof is an ideology. Like, I'm sorry, but atheism is it's sort of a
religion.
Yeah, it's its own from my perspective, where I think religion is just a moral compass for people that they either 100% believe, don't really believe, it just guides them in life. Atheism is a moral compass for people, the lack thereof a god.
Yeah.
And so that is a moral compass. That's their moral belief, to not believe what everyone else of religious belief. But,
yeah.
But I don't know. It's just interesting because, like, I'm Christian. Like, we've talked about this before, and like I believe in Jesus Christ, but I also acknowledge that there's all these other religions that are also doing the same moral benefits that my faith is doing. So I'm also here like, well, why are those bad? I don't know.
This conversation's getting really deep.
This is getting really deep. I'm so sorry. And
we're an anime podcast.
We're an anime podcast talking about what religion is because of Death Parade. But no, that's what this anime, like, this is what kind of started that ball rolling down the cliff. That's not an expression, is it? The ball rolling. I started getting the ball rolling of what is, like, religion. And that's what this anime, when I watched it 2 summers ago, is really what started that train of thought, which is really fascinating because for one, like, I'm not for once, but like this anime specifically had a huge impact on like how I view life. Which is weird to say, but it really did. So those are my final thoughts on this anime. Do you have anything you would like to add to that, Mo?
It's a really good anime.
The characters are great, and it's pretty, and the music is great. Thanks,
But
though.
in all honesty, though, like this anime, if you're looking for something to like binge within like a couple days or something like that,
We're literally in one setting.
yeah, you can literally do that. Do it. This is the anime.
Oh yeah, it's a banger.
It's a banger.
Yeah, is that not appropriate to say?
No, it's just funny that you said that.
It's a banger, bro.
No,
Frat Matt's coming out.
but this anime, it's got a pretty good story, and it's got beautiful animation, a great soundtrack. Like, it's a very good one.
It's a good quality anime.
It is.
But yeah, so that's Death Parade. Would you like to shamelessly plug our podcast?
Yes. So, hi guys. This is the part where I shamelessly plug our podcast. So, we are on Instagram, TikTok, and Patreon.
And Patreon.
At Ventures Anime Edition, the name of this podcast that you know and love. And we are on Twitter at Anime Vengers. Go check it out.
Yeah. Also, next week... Oh, we need to do a music rec. I have a music rec. Do you have a music rec?
Yeah.
What's your music rec?
I'm doing the opening to Horimiya, the new anime that's out. It's pretty great.
Okay, cool.
It's really cool.
Cool. I'm going to do the Bungo Stray Dogs second opening.
Did you just do?
Last week.
Yeah, I was like, didn't you just do Stray
Yeah,
Dogs?
I did. But the second opening is good too, so I'm also recommending it. So check it out. I just like the... Well, dude, I was watching the first opening again, and like I love when Daichi is just falling off the building, and then like it starts off with him falling off the building, and then it like comes back to him falling, and the music changes. And I just love that moment. I'm like, oh, and then how the camera angle changes and panels with every character.
I haven't gotten that far.
It's the first opening.
I'm
talking about the first opening now, but the second opening is really good too. There's like 3 different versions of the
I was
second
so
opening.
confused. I was like, is he talking about the second
He's
opening?
Like, This is how my brain works, guys. It's like on acid all the time. It's just like hopping around and like tweaking out.
Okay, so now this is the part of where we do next week's.
Which we're not drawing this week because it's February.
And we said a long time ago that we were going to do romance during February.
So we're doing romance.
As you can both hear in both of our voices.
We're ecstatic about this. I love Single Awareness Month.
But yeah, I think that we had both decided that Fruits Basket was going to be our first one.
We'll do Fruit Baskets first. I've never seen it. It's supposed to be really good. I'm kind of excited to watch it. I'm watching the new version.
I am too.
But I lost my train of thought. We're going to figure out what we'll do the rest of the month. We'll have 2 other romance we review, and then we'll have a top 10 list at the end of the month. I don't quite know what the top 10 will be. We can talk about it over lunch.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. We love you guys.
Thank you so much.
All your support.
Tune in next week for Fruits Basket.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye.